Morning everyone, welcome to another Madikwe Safari Lodge virtual safari.
Here we go. Africa's largest carnivore right here. 250 kilograms of pure muscle. And they'll keep this up for up to a week. And they'll mate up to 100 times a day. 100 times a day. And so after about 3 months, if they come right with this and she conceives, after about 3 months she'll give birth. And the male, well, he spends most of his time marking territory and patrolling for other males, so doesn't actually spend much of the time with the pride. And thus actually do most of their own hunting. Lions are quite opportunistic hunters. And so at any point, if any form of prey item were to run into view, they need to be ready to basically assess the situation and decide whether or not it's actually quite worth the energy expenditure of actually hunting, or they should just sort of let it pass by. But in order for them to be able to make that decision and actually be able to capitalize on it, lions spend quite a bit of the day actually just saving energy. And because they're so large, they can make much larger kills, and so can hunt things like buffalo and zebra and wildebeest that can support an entire pride for 4 or 5 days sometimes. Find with photography, lions' manes tend to absorb quite a lot of light. Like you can see now, the light reflects off quite harshly off the mane. So I personally always try and underexpose when in very light conditions on a male lion's mane, especially if they're very blonde. So after the 3-month gestation period, pregnancy period, the female will give birth to most sources will say between 1 and 6 cubs. Ooh, and this is a garden orb spider. They spin a web so strong, the idea for Kevlar was synthesized from this fiber. This is always so sweet. Elephants love wallowing, and they don't actually have sweat glands or anything, so they have to rely on mud and water to cool down. So elephants are what we refer to as water-dependent animals, and actually rely about 100 or so liters of water a day to stay healthy and alive, really. And about 4 liters taken up in the trunk in each slurp. This dust they're actually using as an antiparasitic to keep ticks and fleas and flies off. Just like birds in flight, you want a very, very fast shutter speed to get all the particles in motion when you're taking photos of this. So unlike lions, leopards are actually not very social cats and spend most of their life alone. Lightning fast and extremely powerful, enough to be able to hoist an entire antelope into a tree. Much smaller than lions. Most of them, a male will only be maximum around about sort of 80 or so kilograms. You talk about group structures, you talk about things like lions, the males will form a coalition. This is a breeding herd, so you find this with elephants as well, where you find males, females of varying ages. So when you're looking at cheetahs, one of my favorite topics about cheetahs is always the anatomy of a cheetah. They are just equipped for what they do so well. Their shoulder blades, for example, can actually rotate around the spinal column. So that allows them, basically, it turns their head into a big gyroscope. And they are able to track a prey item while they are chasing it, without actually having to move their head or change the position of their head to look at it, which is incredible. And so cheetahs have semi-retractable claws, so they can't actually be retracted the whole way, and this actually helps them get faster. This gives them more grip while they run. Of course, the streamlined body shape and the narrow hips, so that they can take very sharp turns and sharp corners when they're chasing animals. And just think, I mean, a 2 kilogram steak comes free at a restaurant if you eat it in an hour. But these gentlemen over here can finish a whole 30 kilograms of meat in just one sitting with ease. And they'll get up and eat in another 2 hours or 3 hours even. Not one of the most commonly known types of hyenas. This is a brown hyena, actually, and it's very characteristically hairy, very shaggy coat, and quite a bit smaller than spotted hyenas. Type of clan and den structure, just these hyenas tend to go out alone to forage and hunt.